Hope you guys are having a great Sunday wherever you're at. Let's go ahead and confirm that you can hear me, and then we'll just give it a few minutes for everyone to get in here, and then we'll get started. Awesome, guys. Awesome. What's going on, Junior? Men of Valor, Mirza. Hey, God bless you. Thank you so much. Brian, good to see you. Dreamer, Nikolai, Mystic Eve. Happy Sunday. 288 Divine, good afternoon. Jim Hunters, Dreamer, Avi. Awesome, guys. So glad you guys are having a great Sunday. It's going to be a great stream. We're going to go over some good risk management tools you can use and also dive into the psychology of trading and of the entire market cycle. So it's going to be a great stream. A lot of good ways for you to manage your risk and hedge accordingly. So definitely stay tuned. It's going to be a great one. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So before we get started here, if you guys could like the stream, it would help spread this out to the masses, help get everyone onto the stream, so it's going to be a great one. But like I said, we're going to go over easy risk management tools and methods you can use to make sure you're staying grounded in the market and obviously managing your risk accordingly. So first, we're going to talk about some hedging strategies. Now, I know a lot of people here, they leverage trade, including myself. And sometimes I'm sure you've found yourself on the wrong side of a trade. And you found out short here as well as long. Where should I place my stop loss? What technique should I use, etc. So we'll talk about that. So first of all, hedging. For those who don't know what it means, an investment that is made with the intention of reducing the risk of adverse price movements in an asset. Meaning, say you're in a long on Ethereum from 2370. Well, it gets up to major resistance at 2470. So you may end up taking a short at 2470 as a hedge, say on a sub account that you have. Well, from that, now your profits are locked in case the trade goes against you back to the downside. But also you're hedged in case, if price keeps going higher, well, you can set your stop loss maybe above this major resistance level because you're sure it's going to go a lot higher after that. And so that hedge is a way for you to lock in your profits, but also a way for you to also take emotions out of it because you're hedged, so you're not really worried. Or even if you want to take a short on Salana or some other token that's showing weakness versus Ethereum. Well, now you're already long on Ethereum, you're short on Salana. Okay, you're good, right? You have your stops in place accordingly. So hedging can be a very, very useful tool. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be just shorts, right? It can also be hedging with stables. So I always say, or you always see people say DCA down, or always have some dry powder, so to speak, in case we have a further move down so you can buy cheap. And so stables are also a great way to hedge because, like I said, you can buy the dips. Because whenever you're in a bull market, you want to have stable coins ready to buy those dips. And that is a strategy in and of itself. Because, yeah, you're not short, but at the same time, you're looking to buy dips and then ride those profits even higher. So I prefer doing this method where either A, I long on the dips at major support in a bull market, or I'll have some dry powder, some stable coins, and then I'll actually buy whenever we do have that dip, okay? So two great methods there. And then here is more of a stock slash TradFi perspective or method, but leveraging options and futures for risk mitigation. So anyone who's in the TradFi space, options are similar to leverage trading in a way. For example, say you are bullish on Tesla and it's at 130 now and you think it's going to go to 150 by next week because you know some catalyst or something. Well, if you take a call option for, let's just say 160, well, maybe that call option is really cheap and then say price moves 15% in a week, which is very unusual for stocks, but say it does. Well, at that point, now that option is probably going to go up at least 100% or more. And so it's a leveraging, you're leveraging your option because you're not investing your entire capital. You're only investing a little bit because you know options are a way to amplify whatever returns you're making. And so that's also a way you can do it. And then futures are similar. Again, just using a little bit of capital, but leveraging higher amount. So if you want to invest only $50, but you want to trade on 30x leverage, well, that's $1,500. Okay, so now you're only betting with 50, but you're still getting similar exposure slash returns to if you would have traded with 1,500. Again, it's not like you're going to make 1,500 on the trade, but you could make $50 percentage wise, meaning you could get the same returns, not necessarily total dollar value wise, but still you're risking a little bit less for the trade. Now, scaling in and out of positions. This is a big one because whenever I post leverage trades, I'll post multiple take profits. And I'm sure everyone notices that. And I do that because you should layer out your trades, right? In my opinion, you shouldn't have one trade and then one take profit level. You could do that 100%. Like, I'm not knocking anyone that has that. But if you're trying to maximize your gains, multiple take profits could be a good way to do that. And the way that I set up my take profit levels is I'll set 50% on the first take profit. So 50% of my total position. And from there, because here's the thing, the first take profit level is most likely going to get hit. If everything's, usually I'm longing at major support, when indicators are overbought, etc. There's max fear in the market. So usually we're going to have some bounce, right? So the first take profit's usually going to get hit. But that's the time when I want to take at least half off the table because there's less of a chance that take profit 2 and 3 is going to get hit because, again, there's more resistance, right? So you want to be able to still get a good chunk of profits out, but still have a good chunk in to be able to realize a good amount of profits if it hits take profit 2 and 3. So say it hits take profit 3. Well, at that point, I'm taking out 25% of the remaining position. So I took out 50%, then 25%, and then take profit 3, I'm taking the remaining 25% and I'm fully out. Because most likely than not, we're going to end up rejecting and there's going to be some type of pullback. So that's the strategy I use for that. Now, obviously, you can tweak it. You can take 33% out on each take profit level. You can take 75% at take profit 1 and then 20% at 2 and 10% at 3, right? There's all kinds of different ways. Just know that having multiple layer orders in is a good method in my opinion because you're trying to maximize the max value possible. And if it goes down after getting 50% of your take profit out, well, at that point, maybe you could set your stop loss at break even once it hits your take profit. That's another method I've seen used. And so just do whatever works best for you based off your risk tolerance and how much money you're willing to make or lose. So just a little strategy there. And then also we have benefits of dollar cost averaging. So this chart here, kind of, it's saying scaling in and out as far as adding. So I would say this, don't pay too much attention to this chart I would say benefits of dollar cost averaging more so when buying on the way down. So whenever I posted, for example, the Salana trade, I said 135 to 139 is the entry. Now, I gave a range because the benefits of dollar cost averaging in on the way down is going to help you, one, minimize your losses for the stop loss, because the stop loss was at 129. So now you're losing a little less if your entry is closer to that. If your entry is like 136 versus your entry at 138, right? You're going to lose a little less if it hits your stop loss if your average entry is 136. And also, you're going to make more profit whenever the price bounces. So you're going to get twice the benefits. And so, in my opinion, it's best to have a range and then scale in, place some limit orders for whenever you're entering a trade so you can make the most profits and minimize those losses. Now, also, let's go on the flip side. If you're trading spot, then I do like this method here of scaling in on the way up. And I say that because they always say the trend is your friend. So let's just say there's a strong token like Hyperliquid, for example, and it just keeps going up, okay? Well, if you're holding spot and then it pulls back at resistance, but then it starts to reach that support level, so previous resistance turns support, well, you can actually buy and dollar cost average on the way up because you're buying into strength. That's a method I've seen is people add to their winners. And then it goes up again, and then it comes back to major support, which is previous resistance. And then they buy there. Okay, so buying into strength is a good strategy with a caveat. I would only use it for spot trading, and I would only use it when it makes sense. So, for example, if we're in a bull market and we're still in the middle of the bull market and there's still a lot of room to the upside, then yeah, I will buy on the way up. But if we're still volatile, we're still in kind of the weird period of the market where they're still maybe towards the end of the bull market, or maybe we're just entering the bear market, well, then scaling in wouldn't be the best, right? Because now we're in a downtrend. So just use proper judgment, but buying into strength is a good strategy as well. But like I said, I like DCAing for these leverage trades between levels. And as long as they're above major support levels, then they tend to play out pretty well. Next, this is the big one we're going to talk about for most of the stream, is psychology of a market cycle. So if any of you guys, I'm sure everyone here, they deal with emotions. Even I do, Luke does, right? Because they're a part of human nature. Our brain is still very primal. It still has very primal instincts. Therefore, it's going to get greedy. It's going to get fearful, just like everything else. Now, how do you combat your emotions? Because how do you combat something that's so innate in you, that's so primal in you, and say, no, I'm going to ignore this? Well, you have to develop a strategy, okay? Because if you fail to prepare, then you prepare to fail. I've said that probably hundreds of times on these streams. And it's true. If you don't develop a strategy, guys, you're going to lose money. You're going to act on your emotions. And so a couple ways for this. One, learn the basics of technical analysis. If you go to the Gym Hunters YouTube channel, subscribe if you haven't. Like the stream if you haven't. Helps a lot. But if you go to the Gym Hunters YouTube channel and you go to the live tab, then you will see a video that says the foundations or the technical analysis basics. Okay, I'll go ahead and link it as well so you guys can see it, so you don't have to go search for it. But technical analysis basics is a good video that everyone should watch because it goes over the basics of support and resistance, and it gives you the foundation of what you need to be a successful trader. Because at the very least, if you're buying at support and selling at resistance, you're already ahead of at least 60% of people. Then you can start to tweak it more and incorporate indicators like the RSI, stock RSI, 200 EMA, 50 EMA, trend lines, etc. That's when you really start to get into that 80-90% range of defeating traders. So that's one thing, right? Second, gain some knowledge about trading as far as from books. So Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Great book, right? Great book. So it goes over market psychology. It goes over the emotions of a trader. And it's a highly recommended. For most traders, it's usually the first book they read. So great book on that. Buy it on Audible, on Amazon, or even paperback. Either way, great book to read. And then 3, making sure you're putting in the time to develop your strategy, and also only investing what you can afford to lose. And that's the thing I say for this. So a lot of times, whenever we develop these emotions, It's because we're overly invested in the market. So I'm sure everyone here has overinvested. Let's just say you have a $1,000 portfolio and you put in $500, 50% of your portfolio. Well, now you're monitoring the trade every 2 seconds because you overinvested. So if instead you'd put in $50, you wouldn't even be looking at it that much, right? You'd let it play out. Say, okay, $50, 5% of my portfolio. I can let this play out. And you've already had your take profit level set, your stop loss set, you're fine. You're just waiting for the trade to play out, right? But the thing you need to realize as well is, one, realizing if you're overinvested or not and lowering your investment if you are getting too emotional. But two, making sure that you know that there's going to be losses in trading, okay? So every successful trader has losses. Even the most successful traders only win 75% of the time. That is 25% that they're losing in this market. And so as long as you can realize that, make your losses small and your wins big, then that's the best way to continue trading and to develop a good strategy and a healthy strategy, because you're not going to win 100% of the time. So just realizing that only investing what you can afford to lose is the best way to control your emotions. Now, real quick, let's talk about this whole psychology of a market cycle chart, because I'm sure you've seen this on X. Everyone posts this. Where do you think we're at in the market? Yada, yada, right? Just to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of this market cycle that we're in right now. So we started this bull market. Some will say January of 2023. Others will say October of 2023. For the sake of this stream, I'm going to say October. Okay, so October of 2023, a year and a half ago. When we started to pump, people were in the disbelief stage. They were saying this rally is going to fail like the others. They weren't believing it. Then when we got to November, December, people were getting into the hope stage, saying a recovery is possible. I think this is possible, right? Then we're getting into the optimism stage. So now people are really starting. This is when Trump won, right? This rally is real. Everyone was high-fiving each other. This rally is awesome. Everything's going to be good, right? And so we started getting into this optimism, and this was kind of in between, right? This was around 2024, and then going into 2025. It was like optimism and belief, okay? Time to get fully invested. Trump's about to get elected, etc. And then you had, right now, in my opinion, so Trump got elected, the belief, and then we had the pullback, the standard 20 to 30% pullback. It happens in every bull market. It happens at least 2 to 3 times. You're always going to have a pullback, guys. It doesn't mean you're breaking structure. It doesn't mean you're not in a bull market anymore. Completely normal. So Trump got elected around this belief stage, belief to thrill, you could say. And so now where we're at, in my opinion, is we're between thrill and euphoria. Okay, we're not quite at the top yet, but we're getting close, right? So Trump got elected. We had to pull back for a couple months, and now we're starting to see some good signs as far as war tensions easing. The big, beautiful bill is getting closer to being passed, which should be passed by July 4th. That's his goal. You have the crypto stablecoin bill looking to get passed. You have ETFs on the horizon. So thrill. We're in this thrill stage right now. Like, people are like, I will buy more on margin. I got to tell everyone to buy. Like, this is where we're at right now. And so with that said, this is when you need to start managing your risks accordingly, okay? Because we haven't got into that altcoin season yet. Again, alts have pumped. We've had rotations, but it's been very rotation heavy. We had the whole meme coin run with pump.fun. I still believe we're going to have another meme coin run soon, because I think, launch coin's going to start pumping again, and then Salana's already started doing really well. But nonetheless, we haven't had a full-blown alt season. Ethereum has not outperformed. Bitcoin dominance hasn't topped out. That's what I should say. Bitcoin dominance hasn't topped out, which is the thing everyone needs to look at whenever they are looking for a altcoin season, okay? And also, I will say as well, is I'm going to post this in the chat as well for you guys. So if you're not following, if you're not following me at the CryptoData, definitely do so. I post a lot of good content, guys. I try to give you guys the best info I can. I even made a post here about July being one of the most bullish months for crypto. I talked about seasonality on CoinGlass, and then I talked about all of these different catalysts, okay? Like the cryptos are David Sachs recently saying July is going to be a big month. The White House official is revealing their intent of creating an accumulation plan to buy Bitcoin, like all this stuff, okay? So if you're not following me on X at the CryptoData, definitely do so. I'll actually post I'll post a thing in the chat as well, so you guys can follow me if you aren't. Now, also, another guy that you should all be following is Benjamin Cohen into Cryptoverse. So I was talking about the Bitcoin dominance chart. This guy talks about Bitcoin dominance more than anyone I know, but he has mastered it more than anyone I know. So follow myself, follow Benjamin Cohen. He is a great guy, and he's going to help you realize when Altseason is going to happen, okay? I highly, highly recommend you guys watch him, watch his video. Very, very smart guy. So, with that said, Bitcoin dominance hasn't topped out. It's getting close. Interest rates are getting close to being cut. That's another thing, right? Is look for a cut in interest rates, because that will then mark the top of Bitcoin dominance, in my opinion. That'll mark the end of quantitative tightening. That'll mark the start of the money printer, of stimulus. And then that's when you'll see this thrill stage really start ramping up, okay? That's when everyone's going to be thrilling and then going into the euphoria stage. So then it may happen in July, and then you'll see maybe August, September may cool down, and then October will really be in that euphoria stage. October, November of this year. Everyone's going to be shouting for higher. The government, the US government's going to announce an accumulation plan to buy more Bitcoin for their SBR, Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. You're going to see them use tariff savings to buy more Bitcoin, using gold certificates to buy more Bitcoin. Countries are going to be buying Bitcoin, developing their own SBR. Like, it's going to be an insane run, okay? So when you get to this stage, thrill and euphoria, you guys really, really need to hone in on taking profits, because a couple techniques that I like to use when taking profits, besides major resistance levels, is one, I look for how many people have been liquidated. What I mean by that is, if a lot of shorts are getting liquidated and we have over 1 billion of liquidations and majority of those are shorts because we've just ripped and people have tried to short on the way up, that's when I would start to take profits, because that's usually when you have, at least at the very least, a local top, okay? Just like you have a local bottom whenever 1 billion of longs get liquidated, same thing. If we never really had the shorts get liquidated that much, so watch for that. 2, we're in the extreme greed area of the fear and greed index. Extreme greed above 95, look for that. Another one, we have on the search trends, Google search trends for Bitcoin or crypto, we're now at 95 or 100. So that's another top indicator. Another one is you're taking screenshots of your portfolio. I know everyone here has taken a screenshot of their profit at one point or another. They showed their friends or their family, and then boom, the coin topped out, and then they lost 40% the next day. I know that's happened to everyone here. And if it hasn't, just wait, it will. Okay? So whenever you're taking a screenshot of your profits, guys, immediately take 50% of your profits. Immediately. Because more times than not, you're in this thriller euphoria stage of that token cycle, right? This doesn't even need to be a market cycle. This could be a token cycle when you're investing in a token and then it's euphoric. It's going up all the time. You got to take profits along the way. Because more times than not, when that token starts declining, you hold on to it thinking it's going to go higher. But again, everyone else has already bought, and now you're just a bag holder, you're a community member, and now you're angry and depressed because you didn't take profits when you were euphoric. So please, 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 guys, learn to manage your emotions and make them work for you, not against you. Your emotions can be a contrarian indicator. When you're euphoric, sell. When you're depressed, buy. Just based off your own emotions. I mean, that's how you can even stay 95% ahead of other traders, right? So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, in my opinion, I think October, November, we're going to be in this euphoria stage. We may even go into January, February. I think in January, February, we may get into complacency here. But again, there's people saying this market is going to extend. They're really not going to have any bear markets after this, etc. Again, guys, anything could happen. But at the end of the day, market cycles are market cycles. Usually have 2 years of bear or 2 years of bull, 2 to 3 years of a bull market, and then 1 to 2 years of a bear market. Happens every time. So I would not see a reason why this time is different. But at the same time, I would just always take profits regardless and still look to buy on the dips if we are in a continued bull market either way. So something to keep in mind. But yes, whenever we do have the downturn, that's when you'll notice people getting complacent, saying we just need to cool off. Then you'll have anxiety. Why am I getting margin calls? This dip is taking longer than expected. People continue to buy on these dips. Denial. No, these are great companies. They'll come back. Panic. Everyone's saying I need to get out. This is when you have capitulation, right? I'm getting 100% out of the markets. I can't afford to lose more. Anger. Everyone's arguing with each other. Why did you tell me to stay in? Depression. The market's been chopping. I don't think it's ever going to go back up. And then finally, you get back to disbelief this is a sucker's rally. All the emotions. I'm sure everyone has been through this. If not through a market cycle, through a coin that you've been holding. Again, happens to the best of us, guys. And unfortunately, it's a lesson everyone needs to learn. But once you learn these emotions and these triggers, you can learn how to manage them and how to take advantage of them. All right. Let's go to the chat. Let's see what everyone's got to say here. So, all right. What's going on, Jeremiah, David, Spiracos? Good to have you guys here. Walter, hope everyone's having a great Sunday. Hey, hope you're having a great Sunday as well. Luca, Cena, Viper, good to see you guys here. Kaudik says, Luke. I am not Luke. I'm John Luke, but again, similar voices, similar mannerisms. Usama says, greetings from Pakistan. Hey, Usama, I love Pakistan. Where are you from? Are you from Karachi, Lahore, or a different area over there? I still need to visit it, but know a lot of good people from Pakistan. Esar says, hey, CryptoData, how are you doing? Just took a long trade today on Tau. Got a decent profit, about 16%, but took it early, so could you give me the best advice for that? Okay, Eswar, I will tell you what I tell everyone, is if you took a trade, why did you take the trade? Tell me the reason why you took the trade. Tell me your support and resistance levels, and when are you managing to take profit or get out? Tell me that, and then I will tell you my opinion on it. Because the thing is, if you don't know why you got in a trade, then that's the quickest way to lose money, because you'll act on emotions versus data. So let me know why you got in that trade and what your take profit levels are, and then I'll help you from there. And then Eswar says, also, is there any difference between perp trades and standard futures? If yes, could you explain perps in a nutshell? They're mainly the same. I mean, there's different nuances, but for the things of this video, just stay in isolated margin for trading, for leverage, and then you'll be fine. Eswar, all the major coins are at the overbought zone. Are we cooked? Maybe you could have a short-term pullback. What time frame are you looking at? Daily? If you're looking at the daily chart, we could have a pullback in the next few days, definitely. Mirza says, when you DCA into a leverage position, do you also go with 50, 25, 25 of the overall money you're willing to put in? You know, that's a actual great question, Mirza. And you could say yes. I mean, you could say yes. So 50% of your money at the current level and then 25% at the DCA levels. Yeah, that's another great way to do it, 100%. Sports Highlight says, good evening here, CryptoData. Can you do a little brief market structure, how to analyze from daily time frame and enter a trade with 15-minute? Do you use a break of structure and all that? So yeah, so Sports Highlight. So what I do as far as entering a trade, so I'll go over that real quick for you guys. Give me a second. All right, so for example, for Ethereum, okay? So for Ethereum, when I'm looking to enter a trade, so let's just say, for example, okay, so Ethereum was getting around the support level here, right? If you want to be risky, you could have bought here. But let's just say we're looking for a reclaim of previous resistance, now turn support. So when Ethereum closed the daily above this 23.7 resistance, at this point, I would start looking for some longs at 23.70 or around there. And so at this point, what I'm thinking is, okay, it had a nice bounce here. The stock RSI was oversold. RSI was close to oversold. Now we had a nice bounce. Now these positions are still looking good, okay? So I'd be looking to buy on dips because indicators aren't oversold. Now, when you're asking, do I look at 4 hour, 1 hour, 15-minute? I don't go that deep. I don't go that deep. Now you could, right? You could say, okay, on the 4 hour, let's see where it's at this time. Okay, the 4 hour stock RSI is overbought. So you know there's probably going to be some type of pullback soon. So then when there's a pullback and it's close to this 2370 level, granted, the stock RSI is still overbought, but at the end of the day, major support is usually going to hold versus what the lower time frame indicators are saying, because the daily at this time, the stock RSI wasn't overbought yet. The RSI wasn't overbought yet. It was actually starting to cross to the upside of its signal line, so very bullish. So even though your 4 hour was overbought on the stock RSI, your RSI was still good, which is a good indicator, but you're still above its major support. So I would at least have some orders set around 2370 to 2380. Capture this, and then from there, you can go a lot higher. Now, you could also say, well, it's below this 50 EMA, so I could take that as support at 20, or as take profit at 2415. That's another way. But again, just know that there's going to be different support and resistance levels. But at the end of the day, what your daily is saying is going to make more difference than what your 4 hour is saying. Yes, it's best to have the 4 hour oversold, the daily oversold, the 1 hour oversold, and then entering on that. But if you don't get all those in confluence, major support, and then what your daily indicators are saying are usually more imperative and more significant than your lower time frames. All right, let's see. Esar, what do you think of these so-called crypto gurus who say bull run is over and everyone is trying to short everything? So I would ask them what their reasoning is. I get where they're coming from as far as the euphoria stage during the Trump era, whenever Trump was being elected and he got in and everyone was calling for higher and that was the local top. I do see why people say that was the local top. Okay, 100%. I know some good traders that took a short position from that and are still riding it. And so, yes, it's possible it was a local top, but with other catalysts on the horizon and how good that we held during the whole World War III tensions, like Bitcoin held 100K for most of that when it would have been a 90K or 85K any other time. That leads me to believe that there's more big money behind the scenes than we realize. So that's why I would argue against them. Esar says, I can remember the screenshot thing so bad. I could have taken profits in January from spot account. At least I learned a few months ago to always take profits. Exactly. Always take profits. And yeah, July's going to be a good month, but always take profits as well. Usama, very informative session. Thank you for the great techniques and for the heads up, not being a bag holder. God bless you as always. Hey, God bless you, Usama. Always appreciate it. Ah, you're from Lahore. Awesome. Very, very fancy. Very fancy. I love it. I got to visit there sometime. Let's see. Walter says, where can I leverage trade in the U.S.? BloFin. Walter, trade at BloFin. So if you go to the description, you'll see that we have a BloFin trading link for gym hunters. Go ahead and join it. It's the best non-KYC crypto exchange in the world. They are going to stay non-KYC until at least next year. They spend most of their money on regulation and compliance. That's one of the reasons. So yeah, trade on BloFin. That's where we always trade on gym hunters. It's going to be a great time. John says, hey, John Luke. Hope you're having a great weekend. Hey, appreciate it. You too, John. I've been placing swing trades on my own, and so far so good. I'm trying to learn scalping as well. Any tips on that? Thank you. Awesome. Hey, glad you're doing good. Congrats on the profits. My biggest thing, make sure you keep your positions relatively low in terms of size. And so slowly, incrementally go up, meaning if your portfolio is $1,000, start with $50. And then when you get more confident, then go to 100. And then I'd probably top it out at like $200. I wouldn't invest more than 20% of your port. I mean, that's still a lot, but like, you don't want to be overly invested to where you're checking your portfolio every minute. So that's what I would say. One, keep your position size manageable to where you won't get emotional, right? And then if you're getting into scalping, you really need to fine tune when you're entering and exiting trades, meaning you got to be at a major support level. You got to be, your indicators got to be oversold. Maybe it's got to be near a major EMA on the 50 or 200. And, you know, the fear and greed index is neutral or in the fear mode or in the fear indication level. And then maybe there's one other thing, right? So like scalping, yes, it's quick, but I would say you need to have more of your indicators in confluence with one another. That would be my biggest thing. And then always set realistic take profit targets, like 0.5%, you know, 0.5% or 1% at the very highest. Like don't try to set a 3, 4, 5% take profit on a lower time frame, because that's not going to happen. So back testing your strategy on the lower time frame, because price does interact differently on the lower time frames, like the 15-minute or hourly versus like the 4-hour or the daily. There's a big difference on that. So realize that, and then always back test your strategy, how far you need to put your stop loss, etc. That'd be my biggest takeaway. As says, I took a long on Tau at 331 based on the 1-hour time frame, and it was oversold, and my TPs were 340 and 349. I just took profit at 346, 341.6. Okay, cool. So you have it based on the 1 hour. Good. Okay, good. Then, yeah. So I'll look at it because you got a plan there for your trade. And so, yeah, good strategy of taking profits right now because it is against resistance. Very, very good. Now, I will say this for Tau is the RSI is looking great. It's crossing above a signal line. Very bullish there. The stock RSI is starting to get oversold or overbought, sorry. But again, it still has some room to the upside, so not crazy yet. But you saw last time it got overbought and what happened to price. So it's at resistance. Stock RSI is starting to get a little overbought. So potentially it could reverse here. So good for at least taking some profits. I would look for a close, let's just say above, let's say above like 345. If it closes above 345, very bullish. At that point, I would target, let's see, I would say probably around 360 to 370. I would target this level, 360 to 370 if it closes above 345. So Still bullish, but it is coming up against resistance. So good job that you took some profits there. Congratulations. Then if you're looking to buy a support, I would say right here at about 317 and 320, because you can see it rejected here, and you can see here support. So see how these lines, people call them magic lines for a reason, because I didn't even look at the left side of the chart when I drew the support. I was just looking where it bounced. But if you scroll to the left, you can see they've bounced here as well. So guys, they become self-fulfilling prophecies. Like literally people have high frequency trading algorithms based off support resistance levels. Like all the big whales are using these. So that's why you need to learn TA and watch that technical analysis basics video that I did link a little bit higher, and make sure you guys are staying up to date with that. And also guys, if you like the stream, please like it. Please. It helps spread the stream to the masses and really helps us out. So try to give you guys the best content I can for free. Least you can do is just like the stream and show the support. I can always appreciate it. David says, I can see you're bullish for July. However, what do you think are the probabilities for a dump in July for BTC going to 93K? David, I'm assuming you're talking about 93K because we have a CME gap there, which is a good reason. From my experience, CME gaps, if they're not filled within the first week and a half, usually it takes at least 2 to 3 months. Now, I know we're coming up on that 2 to 3 month mark, and so, yes, it's possible, right? If there's tensions that continue to rise between Israel and Iran, Russia, Ukraine, all those different countries, if tensions rise again, maybe, yes, we could. If not, it's going to be a lot harder. I mean, there's got to be some black swan that's going to take us to 93K, considering how good Bitcoin is held up. Yes, it's a CME gap, but there needs to be some type of news-driven catalyst that should bring us down there. If not, then we may not get tagged for another few months. Like until August, I could say August. August, I could definitely see us pulling back to 93K, getting everyone depressed. August, September, and then October just taking off, right? Standard Q4 rally. So that's something I'm keeping in the back of my head. But yeah, still possible. But in my opinion, it's going to take some more than just initial downturn for it to happen. Joaquin says, it would be nice if you could do a video of everything about your strategy. Yeah, I may do that sometime. Really, I've put a lot of my knowledge into different Gym Hunter videos. So if you go to the live tab of the Gym Hunters YouTube channel and you search up all the videos that I recorded as far as trend, looking for trends, learning the basics of certain indicators, different time frames, how to trade on those. Like I posted a lot of stuff. We had a whole TA Academy layout. So make sure you guys are checking that out, as well as, checking out the X account, right? So if you guys aren't, again, follow me on X at the CryptoData. I try to post the best content I can for you guys. And again, I post a lot of stuff as far as the crypto market, what I'm seeing. I'm posting, different structures, where different coins are, all kinds of different. This is when I posted the bottom as well. So on June 22nd here, I said we had mass liquidations across the board. And I said, usually we have the bottom is marked within 1 to 3 days. And I posted this. This was when Bitcoin was at 100.2K. Okay. And so I posted this. I posted the CME gap. I posted the USDT dominance topping out. I posted the liquidation heat map. And then I actually, if you scroll up, here is whenever I posted this tweet right here. Bitcoin went up over 6.5% since then. Okay. That's why it pays to know these different indicators and what marks the tops and bottoms of the market. So I take emotions out of it and I strictly look at the data. That's why my name is CryptoData, and that's why I focused heavily on the data, because I take emotions out of it and I make sure that I am acting on that only and keeping my emotions aside. So one of the best things you can do, honestly. Let's see. John says, could you as well briefly simplify what fair value gap is and how they can be used? Yeah, fair value gap is more or less just where a lot of volume is, right? And potentially where, let's say, price breaks through support and then, there ends up being a good level to buy, right? So for example, fair value gap. So let's just say like we have, there's price here, but then there's also support here. So you can even say that, okay, this area of support, this nice little area of support could be a nice little fair value gap to, one, be able to pull back into here, but there's a lot of buying pressure in this gap. It's going to get bought up and to the upside. So I would say it's more or less a range of support where a lot of volume has taken place. And then from there, you can buy during that spot and then continue to the upside. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. But yeah, it's basically where some good buying pressure is and where the fair value, quote unquote, of a coin should be. And it's going to be good risk reward wise as well. So highly, highly recommend that. Let's see. Jen says, how to stop yourself from overtrading and ruining your account. Any advice, please? Okay, the biggest thing I would say for how to stop yourself from overtrading is knowing there's going to be other opportunities in the market. There's always going to be opportunities in the market. You're not going to miss it, right? And so if you realize that, you'll stop yourself from overtrading. And also, do not revenge trade, okay? If you lose a trade for whatever reason, please, please, please don't double down. Or if you lose a leverage trade, don't double down and go like twice the amount of leverage in your whole portfolio, because your account's going to blow up, right? You're going to lose all your money. It's the quickest way to Poorville, and please just don't even go there. So how to stop from overtrading: 1, know that there's always other opportunities. 2, develop a proper strategy with take profit levels, stop loss levels, which before that, learn how to use technical analysis and how to draw support and resistance lines. That's first and foremost. And then 2, develop your strategy. Know there's going to be other opportunities. And then 3, not investing more than you can afford to lose. Okay, so I know that everyone wants to make a lot of money and they want to invest a lot. But guys, if you're investing half your portfolio into a trade and you're always checking that trade every hour, that's a sign that you're, 1, over-investing, and 2, potentially could be, over-analyzing, over-trading in a sense. Like, just take a step back, lower the investment amount, realize there's going to be other opportunities, and just, look at things objectively, where you can say, okay, I'm taking a top-down approach. Am I making the best trade here? Are the indicators oversold? Is it at major supports? Is that a major EMA on the 50 or 200 EMA? If so, okay, cool, I'll take this trade. If not, if you're in the middle of a range, if you're like trying to trade Tau, for example, and let's just say, for example, Tau is like right here, okay? Let's say you're looking at Tau and it's right here. It's in the middle of a range, support and resistance. I would not be trading this at all, because you're in the middle of a range. The 200 EMA is acting as resistance. The 50 EMA is acting as support. It's constrained here. It could go either way, right? It could very well go either way. And so I would rather wait to short when it gets to 342 or wait to long when it gets to 318, 317. But I would not trade in the middle of a range. So take a step back. Are you trading in the middle of a range? If so, don't trade, right? Is the market choppy? Is it the weekend? The weekend's a little bit riskier to trade. So you may want to take time off on the weekend as well. So there's all kinds of different strategies you can use, but the first and foremost, knowing there's going to be other opportunities and taking those high conviction trades only is going to be the best way for you to consistently stay in the game and make profits and keep your losses small. So hope that helps. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Salana and hype? You said it on a post. If Sol reclaims 150, it can go to 180, and hype if it reclaims 40, a possible new all-time high. Yeah, I'm still bullish on Sol, still bullish on hype. We'll look at the Sol chart real quick, because I know we're still in the long. By the way, let me know if any of you guys made money on that Salana long that I called between 135 to 139. I mean, Salana's looking good here. Still very good. Our take profit is at 153, almost there. But yeah, I mean, Salana is crossing above its 50 EMA. If it can close above it on the daily, very, very bullish. RSI still looks good. Stock RSI getting a little overbought. So we may have a pullback in the near future. That's why it's 153. I have his take profit. So again, could get oversold here in the near, or overbought and pull back in the near future. If it does, I would look for, I'd say 147. Maybe a good re-entry. 143 is gonna be good support. But yeah, I mean, if we close above 153, like say we close like at 155, easily 160, and then 165 is probably the next target I would look at. So 160, 165, great level to take profit. So yeah, close above 155, I'll target 165. But Solana's looking good. Let's see. Men of Valor says, if you were to maximize your profits, would you go all in on one coin with size or split 50-50 with two coins? Great question, Men of Valor. I would probably do 2 coins because diversification is the best way to where you can maximize profits because you're not over-invested into one coin. Therefore, you're not fully, you're not emotionally invested per se. If that coin goes down, but the other coin's going up, you're hedged, right? That's what this whole stream was about, hedging. And so, yeah, if you're hedging with 2 coins, best way. Diversification is the best way to hedge, in my opinion. Mirza says, do you have any bags that you hold throughout the entirety of the bull run? How often do you stable up everything? Also, what's the average time frame you spend holding bags? A lot of good questions, Mirza. A lot of good questions. So, yeah, I would say the only bag I hold long-term, and even, like, I should hold more, but Bitcoin. Bitcoin's one of the long-term bags. And then besides that, I mean, right now, probably Hype. Hyperliquid should be a long-term bag for everyone, in my opinion, because they buy back their token with any liquidations or fees that they earn. So it's like a flywheel they have. So anytime there's big liquidations, you notice Hyperliquid outperforming, it's because they're buying Hype with all that money that they made. Literally, it's like a flywheel. So one of the best tokens, in my opinion, besides Bitcoin. And then as far as stabling up, I would say when we reach major resistance on the daily or weekly time frames, sometimes I'll stable up and then I'll wait, right? Or if there's periods of euphoria, like if there's some crazy good news, usually I'll stable up because just like we talked about in the market cycle, psychology of a market cycle, anytime you have periods of euphoria within the entire market cycle, you're gonna have pullbacks. That's where you see those 20, 30% pullbacks. So that's when I'll stable up. If there's huge news coming out that's, basically a war broke out or something crazy happened, I may take profits right away, buy lower. That could be it as well. But yeah, I would say stables, probably 20% stables whenever I do stable up. And then let's see. And the average time frame I spend holding my bags, it depends. So if I'm in a leverage trade, a week or less. It just depends when it hits my take profit or stop loss, but usually that's a week or less. And then if it's an altcoin that I'm in, like a meme coin or something, that depends as well what target I'm aiming for that. But that's usually, I would say, within a week to a month, usually for those meme coins, depending. Some are anomalies and I'll hold them for a few months. If I know the team behind them and I know what they have planned, then usually I'll hold those for a little bit longer. But for the most part, usually between a week to a month. Hyper, did you check out Re.Pay? I need to check out Re.Pay actually. So I know that Soul Card, for anyone who doesn't know, Soul Card actually, you can use that, and it was a non-KYC debit card, or you could use on Apple Pay, etc. They recently canceled their non-KYC cards, and they've gone all KYC. I know Cast, so Cast Card, K-A-S-T, is a good one, and then yeah, Re.Pay is another good one for using crypto to pay or connect to your Apple Pay account. So I'm probably going to use Cast, but I'll check out Re.Pay as well, Hyper. Thanks for the heads up. Sports Highlight, thank you so much for Understand Better Now. I will stick to that because honestly, it saves me a lot and makes a lot of money. Thank you so much. Hey, no problem, Sports. Anytime. Eswar, can't wait to see you and Luke Belmar in India, man. I mean, I could feel the aura from here itself. Hey, appreciate it, Eswar. Looking forward to seeing you too. What do you think of algo trading? And do you know any tools, software that I can try? So I know that on, if you're in the Gym Hunters Premium group, we're actually incorporating some algorithm trading there. So if you guys join Gym Hunters Premium, you get 1 ETH for a yearly subscription in the description as well. We have more trades, meme coin trades, degen trades, leverage trades, etc. If you want to join that, do that. We do have some algo trading going on in there. But yeah, as far as algo trading, I would say just be careful with it. Unless it's a reputable person or a reputable algo, then always make sure you look at the back testing and look at the data to see if it's reliable or not. But I am bullish on algo trading. Like, it's a great way to take your emotions out of the trade and just strictly trade based off the data. As far as says, hopefully the CME gets filled in August, bro. I'm done holding my bags all these months. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I said, it's CME is at 97K and 93K. So yeah, when it gets filled, we'll rip from there. So I'll definitely have DCA orders down there. Also, have you seen the exchange funding rates for BTC on various exchanges? So it does have an impact on the BTC pump. Yeah, funding rates definitely matter. That gets more technical, but definitely funding rates make a big difference. Let's see. Sino says, what do you think of the Wi-Fi listing? Or WorldFi, World Liberty Fi. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I wish I would have invested in the pre-sale. That was free money. It was like a 1.25 billion FDV. Such free money, guys. Let me know if any of you guys invested in that. Crazy. Esar says, also, what do you think of Sol and Sui? Bullish on Sol. Sui, probably still bullish on there. I got about 5 minutes left before I got to head out. But yeah, Sui still looks good until 295. The next big resistance around there. I would say, yeah, 293, 295. Big resistance. And then after that, I probably start aiming for 340. Let's see. Also, again, guys, please like the live stream if you like it. It really helps out. Also, follow me on X if you haven't. I always try to give you guys the best content as I can. Let's see. John says, appreciate you for trying to spread wisdom every time. Thanks. Hey, no problem, John. Mirza, do you also leverage trade when the fear and greed index is at greed, or all your trades placed in fear and neutral conditions? No, it's sometimes they're placed in neutral. Honestly, like I use the fear and greed index when we're in extreme like greed or fear. Usually that's when I'll tend to make bigger positions or bigger plays. But if it's in neutral, then I'll make sure my indicators are in confluence a little bit more. Like the RSI, stock RSI is oversold. It's at major support on the daily or weekly time frames, etc. That's when they matter a little bit more. Sugar says, thoughts on gold? I mean, I think eventually it's going to have a pullback and there's going to be more investments into risk-on assets. Even Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to be the de facto gold pretty soon, if it's not already. Con says, media, what do the RSI and stock RSI mean and how do you use them to your advantage? So the RSI and stock RSI just means that they use to measure price strength. So basically, if there's a lot of selling going on, then price is usually overextended to the downside, and the RSI and stock RSI will reflect that. And they'll basically show you that, hey, they're oversold, price is oversold, and it's a good chance to buy risk reward wise. That's where they will be to your advantage. So for example, like if you're looking at, let's just say, let's use SUI as an example. So if you looked at SUI on the daily and saw when it was oversold, the RSI was below 30, it was oversold, and the stock RSI was below 20, it was oversold way down here near zero, almost free. At that point, and it was at support, that was an easy trade to take. Boom. Instant 20% trade or more. Instant, right? So if you would have used these trades, you would have known that price was way overextended to the downside, way oversold. People were off sides, and now eventually we're going to have a mean reversion trade back to the upside. That's how I use it. Or if it's overbought, right? If it's overbought above 70, that means people are getting too greedy. Both of these overbought, price eventually rolls to the downside. So RSI and stock RSI, one of the best indicators I recommend for anyone to use. No problem, Minivalor. Tim, if you're buying, holding for long term, is it better to buy throughout the market cycles or wait to accumulate during a bear market? I mean, it'd be best to buy during a bear market if you're buying and holding for the long term. But if you're going to buy throughout the market cycle, then just wait until we have that big dip. Wait till there's a lot of fear in the market, and then that's when you're making most of your purchases. You don't want to make your purchases right now whenever Bitcoin is near all-time highs, right? Like now, you know, you could, but what's the risk reward here? You want to buy during these max fear moments. We have these huge drops into support, huge drops, huge fear, right? That's when you want to start buying. Not whenever there's peak, whenever price is trending higher. You want to buy on these large dips. So yeah, whenever we have the standard 20, 30% pullback, that's when you want to buy, when there's peak fear in the market. Let's see. DP says, sorry, I'm starting to watch. Tell me, what do you think about Ondo? Ondo's okay. Ondo's okay. I don't know if I'm that bullish on it. I think Syrup is a better one versus Ondo. But, I mean, Ondo right now looking like it wants to go back to the upside. It's going to need to break this 76-cent resistance, and then I'll look at 85 cents. Good support's going to be around 70 cents. So, let's see. Mirza, thank you for all the alpha, bro. It's really appreciated. I'm actually part of a paid group course, and they ain't got shit on you, honestly. Hey, appreciate that, Mirza. I try to provide the best content I can. And like I said, I've been in this space for 8 years. So the least I can do is help save you guys some time so you don't have to go through those 8 years as well. Mirza says, I bought World Liberty Fi while it was on pre-sale. Patient waiting on to become tradable. Mirza, you are going to bank. I think you're going to make at least a 20x on that. Seriously. Like, congratulations on that. You're going to make some good money on that. Esar, can't wait for the market analysis tomorrow for the CryptoData himself. Hey, it's going to be good. Make sure you guys are ready for it. It's going to be at the same time at, let's see, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Gym Hunters free group or in the paid group. It's going to be 1 hour prior to that at 1 p.m. Eastern. So either way, guys, make sure you are joining it. Stone in Paradise says, is there a way to recover frozen funds from Hyperliquid? On ramp 200 yesterday. All of a sudden, I'm flagged for risk. Now can't cash out. That's an interesting one. I would just email their customer support, see what's going on. I would join their community chat and see what other people are saying if they've had similar experiences, and then hopefully you can get some, expertise to help you with that. I will say, guys, be careful. One, there's a lot of scammers going around, so I will never DM you first, guys. Like, there's people in Gym Hunters who have got scammed because a fake CryptoData will message them and saying like, "Oh, I got this paid course and pay me this money," dude. I will never DM you first. No Gym Hunter will ever DM you first. Luke Belmar will never DM you first. Don't fall for scams. But also, if you're in these community chats for these tokens, never answer DMs. Like, in general, guys, if someone DMs you first, they're a scammer. Okay? They're a scammer. Don't even, like, in general, if you keep that mindset, you're going to save all your money. Because people they will impersonate support. Like, they'll impersonate customer support and be like, "Hey, I saw your issue in the community chat. What do you need help with?" But, guys, remember, mods and actual customer support representatives will never DM you first. Spread that to everyone you know, your family, your friends, everyone, because people are getting scammed way too much out there. Never, never, never follow DMs from people who DM you first. Ever. Pulse Nova, what do you think about Polkadot? Not bullish on it. Men of Valor, focused on SPX, Kita, and Zoo CC8. Yes. Yes, good tokens. John, may I call you JL for short? Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. Tim, sounds good. Thank you. Hey, no problem, Tim. Men of Valor, anytime. Encino, I just got 1 bando in World Liberty Fight. Hey, that 1 bando is probably going to be 20 bandos. So, good job, guys. Good job investing in that pre-sale. Rubber Rush says, thanks for the vid. What's the best strategy for the upcoming months? I usually put my TPs very conservatively. What's your plan if coins will send much more? Yeah, I mean, still take profit along the way. I think July is going to be a very bullish month. I posted this whole thing where I talked about the reasons for July being a bullish month. Also, you have the big, beautiful bill from Trump that was recently passed in the Senate. Probably going to get passed in the House soon. And then he wants to pass it by July 4th. Going to be a ton of money to be made on that. So, bullish July, probably bearish August, September, and then final blow off top in Q4. So, Bowen says, thanks for the video. What are your thoughts on Ton? Do you think it's been lagging? Eswar says, what do you think of Aptose? Okay, so I'll go over these 2 tokens at the end, and then I got to head out, guys. I got a meeting I got to go to at 2 o'clock. So let's go to Ton. And yeah, please like the video if you liked it, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Ton, still good until 294, in my opinion. Support's going to be near 280. Stock R size getting close to overbought, so be careful on that. But I think it probably has some legs to 294, 295. And then Aptose for SWAR is, let's see, APT. Okay, so for Aptose, yeah, I would say, I mean, man, Aptose is very hard to draw, but at the very least, probably $5. Now, Aptose is not looking good. No, I would not buy it here. At the very least, look for support around 450 for Aptose. 450, I would say, and then 390 as next support. But besides that, very bearish here. I wouldn't buy it here. If you're still in it, maybe $5 resistance. But besides that, I look to buy it 450 support, if anything. So with that, guys, if you aren't following me at the CryptoData, again, really appreciate everyone who follows me. I try to provide you guys the best content I can. As well as, yeah, if haven't liked the video, please like the live stream. It helps support us as much as possible to keep these streams free and keep them coming. And then as well as, if you want to join the premium group, it's in the description. You get 1 year for 1 ETH. So ETH is still cheap. And then you also get more leverage trades, degen trades, 24/7 concierge service, more gym reports, more live streams from other gym hunters, etc. So very good value. But also, if you haven't joined the BloFin account, go ahead and join that. We have a referral link in the description as well. Trade on leverage with us, the best non-KYC leverage trading account there is. So again, guys, hope you guys are having a great Sunday. Thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys learned a lot. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.